I very frequently have this kind of fantasy of me talking to myself from the past and showing myself everything that's gonna happen and all of the cool dots connecting, you know. I never really decided to quit school. You might say I got kicked out. I was, very frustrated and very sad in school in the end, and I knew quite early what I wanted to do. To me, like, sabotaging school was a way to ensure that my only way out would be music. I had a few production heroes I looked up to during those years. Obviously Daft Punk, the Beatles, but also producers like Stuart Price. I just would study their music and listen to it. I would try to, play on the piano songs that I thought were interesting, trying to see patterns and see common chord progressions between different songs I liked, trying to understand as much as I could and kind of solve this mystery. I kind of became a DJ by accident, and it became an incredible experience. It was kind of a lot to take, I suppose, when I look back at it, all of this industry attention, because I was obviously very young, but I guess in a sense I was trying my best to isolate myself from it. I stayed in the same studio at home doing what I had always done. One method that I really like and that I've been doing for a few years now is I'll wake up and lock myself in the studio for 24 hours and I'll start a clock. We'll have some snacks and we'll stay locked in the studio, turn off the internet and just focus on writing music with the goal of writing an EP within that frame of time. And it forces you to commit to ideas more fully and more quickly and to finish things that you maybe would not dare to finish otherwise. But generally after the 16th, 18th hour, I'll be in this very delicate, fragile place where I'll just want to give up and I'll feel terrible and I won't have any ideas anymore. Generally when I'm in that place, something may happen that I would not have dared to try before. I'm really attached to the feeling of sleep deprivation. It's not very healthy, but it puts me in a zone where I'm kind of losing control of my mind a little bit, and not all the time, but sometime I think maybe it's a good starting point to make music, at least for me. I made the album because I wanted to capture my teenage years and be able to have it there and be able to look back on it later. And so to me the theme of it is adolescence in a way, and at least my experience of it. I also had this very visual thing where I saw this kind of image in my head of starting in a place that was very social, very bright and urban environment, suddenly escaping it and being alone and walking alone in the desert. And I knew I wanted track 7 to feel a certain way, so I wrote a bunch of tracks to fit the track 7 role in that story, and a bunch of tracks to fit track 11 because I knew I wanted track 11 to be instrumental and kind of contemplative and kind of a little epic maybe. It's a transition that I think I experience a lot because I alternate between being on tour and meeting a lot of people and having this very social experience, and then being back home alone, isolated from the world and having a much more introspective experience. It's really weird to be back here at the Nest because that's where I did my first international show. I remember sitting, behind the stage on a stool, completely freaking out, going on stage and being really scared about looking at the crowd. And those were the early days. It thankfully ended very quickly and I started really enjoying myself on stage, but back in those days it was a very big barrier to pass through. I have a very specific memory of having my setup and screwing up and stopping the music accidentally and feeling like I was dying inside. And obviously that video is on YouTube and has like 500,000 views. So I thought I embarrassed myself in front of a few hundred people, but it was actually way more. I've always felt like dance music was not really live music that just happens to be recorded, and electronic music is the other way around. It's studio music that is then kind of forced onto the stage, and so that means there's a lot of different ways to do that transition. One of the key elements for me was to be able to improvise and change the musical content depending on what the crowd was responding to. That flexibility and that ability to kind of compose and change the song and not just replicate it and play it as it was always very attractive to me. I like to also hide meaning and secrets in my music and in my visual endeavors as well. I have a community of fans that are really receptive to that. I did one on a Technicolor. There's a Morse code at the end of the track, and that spells something. And if you go to my website, the website for Technicolor, and type it in, the website will transform, and you would have another hint. And the solution being, it's been a while now so I can say it, but the solution being to download the artwork and rename it from a JPEG file to a zip file, and it's actually secretly an archive. So there's a file inside of the file, and when you extract that, you get 2 more visual files, and when you print them, layer them, and put them against the sun, it will merge together and show you another Morse code that you can then translate and to get the next piece of the story. I thought, no one's ever gonna solve that in a million years. And I put out the track, and 2 hours later, maybe less than that, was solved. And that's when I realized that I was really lucky to have people that cared. So I'm hoping by the end of the year I will have toured a lot. I will have achieved the show I want to achieve. That's what I'm going to be working on for the next couple of months. I hope that I will have written a lot of new music that I'm very excited about, and that is music that I wouldn't have written last year. I think that's the important thing for me, is that I made this album also to kind of capture and conclude certain influences and open up new ones. And now I feel like I'm starting fresh and that I can go many different directions. So I'm hoping that I'm going to write the music that I can write now because I've done that album.